by inheritance concept? So inheritance is nothing but it is an important concept in C++, okay? So it is an object-oriented concept, and it also deals with the base class as well as derived class. So it deals with the usage of more than one classes in a program, okay? So it deals with the usage of more than one classes. So it can have one base class and more derived classes, as well as it can have more than one base class and one derived class also. At the same time, it can also have more base classes and more derived classes also. Okay, so any options are accepted. So in turn, we can tell that it can have multiple base class as well as multiple derived class. So today's class, we will see about single inheritance. So there are different types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level. I'll deal with that all the types. I'll give you the types later. So first we will start with the single inheritance. Single inheritance means you have only one base class and only one derived class. Okay. So I'll share the compiler. So after taking this, I'll give you an assessment. So you have to complete it and you have to show it. Okay. So better keep ready with your laptops. If you show the output only, you can get the attendance also. Right.
Ma'am, I am in the college, ma'am.
Okay. So college means you can go to any of the labs and you can utilize. Ma'am?
I will try, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. So I think is the online compiler visible? Is the online compiler visible to you? Is the compiler visible? If you can respond. Am I audible, students?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Breaking, okay. Yes, now is it audible?
You are not audible, ma'am.
Wait.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am.
Now, am I audible now?
Ma'am, am I audible now? Is only audible, ma'am.
Hi. Okay, I'll teach. So it is audible. Okay, so I'll teach you an example of single inheritance. Okay. If my voice breaks, please inform me. I will just wait for 1 minute.
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am.
Yeah, hello students. I think now my voice is clear. Sam? Hello? Sam Sarvesh, can you hear me, ma? Okay. So we will see about single inheritance. So in this, we have only one base class and one derived class. Okay. So let me show you how to write multiple classes. Bharatraj. So how to write multiple classes in a program. Okay. So we'll take the program. So far we have written only single class. Okay. And here you see first we'll write a base class. So for example, in a base class, I just write a base class called employee class we can write. Okay. So we can write this class's name as class person. Right. One base class I'm writing. So in the base class, I'm declaring some variables. So I'm declaring the variable as private. Okay, the access specifier as private. So in the private, I'm just declaring a variable. Here I can also go with using namespace std. Using namespace std. So here the variable is private. We can just give the private variable, can have a name, string, name. Okay. Then under public, we can have a constructor. Public, I'm writing one constructor. Okay, how can I write a constructor? Can you tell me how should I write a constructor? How should I mention a constructor? Monish? Monish, tell me how to write a constructor in a program. Georgina?
Ma'am?
How to write a constructor in a program?
Tell ra Monish.
Okay. So here, constructor has the same name as the class name, right? So you're just writing the person. Okay, so it's same constructor. So in this person, so I'm just declaring it's a one argument constructor. Okay, so we are writing a one argument constructor, or we can just write a no argument constructor. We can start with a no argument constructor. So in this, so just we are writing one statement, just constructor. Okay, constructor of base class. Base class. Okay, so then this class is over. How will you close the class? With a semicolon. So this class is closed. So we have written one class. The class name is person. So inside you have private data members as well as public members. So under the private, we are storing the variables. So here we are storing a name as the variable. And then we have one function, that is the person. So the person is displaying just a statement called cout constructor of base class. So whenever an object is created for the base class, so this constructor is called automatically, right? Constructor, we know that it has the same name as the class name. It doesn't have any return type. Okay, it is the first special member function of the class. And whenever an object is created, it automatically calls the constructor. Now I'll show you how to write a that is derived class. Okay, so person. So actually we are just taking employee is a person, right? So I am writing one more class, employee, and assuming this employee to be derived from the base class. Okay, so how to write the syntax? Colon, right? So how it is derived, whether it is publicly derived or privately derived or protected. Okay, so access specifier goes now. First, I'll show how it is publicly derived. Okay, so public, it is derived from the class person. So here person is the base class and employee is the derived class. Okay, so in this also I'm just putting one private variable that is salary. Okay, so double salary. So I'm including
the salary of the person. Then one constructor you can have here also, right, under public, I'm writing one constructor. So here the constructor name should be employee, right? So in this, it will display Cout derived class constructor. Okay, derived class constructor. Can have an endel statement to have a neat representation. Here also you can have endel statement for neat representation. So then here I'm adding one more function, void disk. Okay. So it will display Cout. So it will display, we can display the name and salary. Okay. So the name it is declared in the base class. The name is declared in the class and the salary is declared in the derived class. Okay. So I'm just writing name, endel, automatically display salary. Okay. Enter. So now we can close this class also. So I have written two classes. One is the base class. So person is the base class. Here private on variable declared and public. Under that you have only one constructor, no other function. Then class, derived class is employee. So that is derived publicly from the base class. You access specifier, I told you, right? Access specifier plays very important role in constructors. So either you can publicly derive or privately derive or protectedly derive. Similarly, you can also mention the variables to be private or public or protected. So actually we are going to check all the combinations. So when this is private and this is private, what happens? And all the combinations we are going to check. Okay. So take the notes in your notes. Okay. Take a hint notes and also the programs also if possible. You can just do along with me in your laptops. Otherwise, just listen. I'll give you some exercise. Fine. So here we just written two classes. Then main function, as you all know, that main function is main. First task is to create objects. So I'm just creating an object for the base class first. Okay. So I'm creating an object for the base class, or we can just create the, yes, I'll show the base class. I'm just creating a P1. So when this object P1, this P1 is the object of the base class. Similarly, I can create objects for the derived class also. I'm just creating employee E1. So E1 is the object of the derived class. Okay, so here you have only one base class and one derived class. So this comes under the concept of single inheritance. Okay, then using E1, I can access the function. So I'm just accessing the disk function using the derived class. Okay, derived class object. So is it clear? So I think there is no doubt in this program. So this is a simple inheritance. So for single inheritance, if any example is asked, means you can write like this. You have a base class. So that base class name is person. So you have private variables as well as public functions. So in the base class, I'm having only one constructor. So what is inheritance? Like analogy, I told you, like a son inheriting the property of the parents, right? So the father may have, he can inherit father's property, plus in addition, he can also have its own property. Likewise, so if we inherit class employee, it is derived from, publicly derived from base class. So when I write like this, it means that the meaning of this line is here derived class employees derived publicly from the base class. Okay. So let's check the output of this. So here there are errors. Okay, so the name is small letter. Salary also yes, small. Yeah. So so what error you are getting here? Can you read out the error? Can any one of you read out the error? Yamuna here, Yamuna. Yamuna, can you hear me? Yamuna, Yuvashri. Yes. Can you read out the error, ma?
Ma'am, STD, string person name is a private within.
So read out means I'm telling what is the error. What is the error? Can you tell me what error you are getting? The name is declared private within the context. Okay, so name is declared private. So I see, I'm accessing, I want to access the name. For example, you just comment this line. So person P1, employee E1. Now for this, what output will get?
Error will be removed, ma'am.
No. I'm just commented this. Now tell me what output you'll get for this program. You have a base class. Okay. So private, public, and in derived class employee. And in the main function for the base class, I'm creating one object. Derived class, I'm creating one object. So what is the relation between object and constructor? When an object is created, it invokes the constructor, right? Automatically invokes the constructor. So for P1, I'm creating an object for person. So this is base class or derived class? This is a base class. Okay. So what is base class object? P1. What is this is derived class. So what is the derived class object name here? E1. Okay. So for this you will get output. So it's showing. Yeah. So again, still you are getting the problem here because see this name, I'm using the name. What the error says is I'm using the name here. This is actually derived class. So this is publicly derived from the base class, but still in the base class, the name is locked. The name is private. Can you see? The name is private. So this cannot be accessed by the derived class. So if it is private means it can be accessed only by the variables of that same class. Even by the main function, you can't access it. Okay, so you will get error for this because I'm using this name, this name in the derived class. See, in the derived class, in the disp function, I'm using this name. I can't use it in the derived class. Even though it is derived, so since see like this, if a son has all the rights to take the property, get the property from his father. But if the father locks the property or if he is not giving the property to the son, he doesn't have any rights. Right? Similarly, here if you just lock it with private, you won't get it, you can't access. So instead, we can also go with protected. Okay. So if you just go with protected, now see you are getting output. Okay. So see the output here. Constructor of base class, then constructor of base class, derived constructor. So how many times base class is called? How many times base class is called in this?
2 times.
2 times. And how many times derived class is called? 1 time. Okay. So why it is called 2 times means when I create the object of the base class, actually it is automatically this base class constructor will be called. When I create object for the derived class, it calls the base class constructor first and then it comes to the derived class constructor. Okay. So let me comment this and show you. Here I am creating only derived class object. Okay. Here I am creating only derived class object. So it will call the base class first and then it will go to the derived class. Can you see? Okay, so that is what very important. So when you create object, please take this note. When you create object for the derived class, so what it does means the object will call the base class constructor first, followed by the derived class constructor. Even though we have created the object for the derived class, it calls the base class constructor only first and then followed by the derived class constructor. Is it clear, ma? Is the concept clear to you? Okay. So then we will analyze on the access specifier. So the access specifiers you see. So here I told you when I put protected, you can access. So, but this, here you see, I'm just taking this. Now if I run this, now also I can access it. Okay, so now also I can access it because here base class is called, 2 times base class is called, and 1 time derived class is called. Okay, so but what is the going on here? E1 dot disp. So whether I have given any names, I have initialized any name, I can initialize some names. Okay, I have initialized the name. So when I'm calling, I'm getting the name, but for the salary, it is not initialized. So I'm getting 0. Okay. So if you are just, if you want the salary to also be initialized, you can add the salary here. Right. So it is calling. So it is here you see the base class variable is protected. So this variable can be accessed by the derived class. So we are using this variable in the derived class function disp. So you can access through the main function. You can't access the name in the main function. See, if I just give e1 dot name, I'll get error. Okay, e1 dot name, I'm getting error, right? Because this name is actually protected. The name is protected. Protected means what? Yesterday I told you. Protected means it can be accessed by the base class. It can be accessed by the derived class, but it cannot be accessed by the main function. Okay, so please take a note. So it protected means it can be accessed by the base class, can be accessed by the derived class, but it cannot be accessed by the main function. So this name, it is accessed by the base class, it is protected. It can also be accessed by the derived class. See, I am accessing it in an function. The name, I am accessing it here. So it is accepted, but I can't access it in the main function. So if I want to access it, I have to call through a function only. That's why we have used the disp function, right? Then also, again, this is one thing, right? Then you see, if you just want to have here public. So if you just use public, okay? So if you just use public and if you run it, so this is actually accepted by the base class. That is, the name can be used by the base class, the name can be used by the derived class, and the name can also be used by the main. So if we just give name here, okay, so it can also be used by the main function. So you are getting the output. Okay, so since we have not initialized, not used the display, if you want to use the display, you want to display that, you can use like this. So it will display the name. Okay, displaying the name, right? I think you got this. Okay, so this is one thing. And the other very important thing is, so we have seen what happens when the base class variable is private, public, and protected. Now, just I'm keeping this as public. Here also public. So access is there. So if in the derived class, if I keep private, let's take our output. Okay, you are getting error. So because the derived class is privately derived from the base class. Privately derived from the base class means you can't access. Okay, you can't access the private, you can't access the members of the base class. It's privately derived. Okay, so you'll get error. So if I just give here protected, again you are getting error. Okay, so derived class can only be publicly derived from the base class. In base class, you can have the protection. But derived class cannot be privately derived, or derived class cannot be derived protected from the base class. Okay, yes, and can take the property from the father publicly. Okay, right? So with the consent of the father. Likewise, the same concept is applied here. I hope you got the concept of constructor. Now I'll just give you a hands-on for you. So you all have to complete it and you have to display it and you can get the attendance. Okay. So for that you please go to hackerrank.com. There you have inheritance introduction. Okay, inheritance introduction. You solve the challenge and show me. You got it? Got me? You got the challenge? You can you have to finish that challenge and show that. So in HackerRank, there is a challenge under the name Inheritance Introduction. Solve the challenge and present your output. Okay, present your output and then you can get your attendance. Okay, so this is the answer for today's class. Okay, start doing. You got it, Mom? Sachin? Sachin, you are here?
Yes, ma'am.
You got the challenge? What I have given now?
Yes, ma'am. The hacker and we have to
Ah,
complete it and
Complete
show
it.
the.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Finish it and show. You can call me and you can show one day. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.